All right. It says we are now live. And now, am I going to see comments pop up? Oh, it is on comments. So we'll see who pops in. Right now, there's officially 0 people. So if I was going to burp and fart, now would be a good time. Oh, wait. No, I'm live. I can't do it. Now it's going to be broadcast to the world. How classy. All right. Let's see. 2 people, 4 people in. Got a thumbs up. Comments are coming in. There they go. What's up, Charlie? And James. I still feel like, remember that show, The Electric? Well, I'm dating myself. The Electric Company. I think that was the show. Maybe, or is it Captain Kangaroo or one of those old shows? At the end of the show, they would just read out common names, and he would say, and there's Susie and Tommy and Johnny and Mikey and Jennifer. And, you know, of course, if a kid heard their name, they would just lose it because they would pick the most common names. But what's up, everybody? Airbound Creative. It's a great name. Hey-o. Hey, I can read these comments easier than, not to say easier on Instagram, but it looks good. It wasn't Captain Kangaroo. James Podges, you just dated yourself, old man. What's up? Benji, what's up? Hobo Kelly. I don't know what a Hobo Kelly, but right there, Stacy and Ron Vingerelli. Ron Vingerelli, one of the 2 best double disc court players to ever play the game. The bearded guy. Who will be, let's see, what did it say? It says, who will be at my card tomorrow? Nico LaCastro, James Proctor, and one other person. And I'm so sorry. I got to go look up their name. But they're another 990 players. So a couple 1030s, a couple 990s. Which is amazing because at a normal, like, everyday tournament, that's like literally the lead card at like at an A tier, and this is just any other card on the Pro Tour. I hope things pull in your favor with that nasty wind. I don't think it's going to be that windy tomorrow. Hello, Winton Woods. I remember Winton Woods. No, but I don't think tomorrow's going to be super windy. I think it's going to be moderate, or at least that's what it was. The weekend's content. Wasn't it Bradley Williams? Well, it was who Bradley Williams? The 4th player on my card, no. What else is going in the bag? Well, the only ones I'm announcing. Oh, what was my best score during practice rounds? So I don't keep score during practice ever, because it's like that is the last thing that matters. What matters is working on shots, finding lines, judging distance, learning where OB is, looking at landing zones, what type of landing happens in different areas, figuring out what disc to throw. Score is never something like I've honestly, I think I've kept score twice in 5 years. Like I don't keep score like in practice ever. And one time I only did it because I was playing Maple Hill Golds for the first time, and I was curious what my score would be. I can't wait. What score do I think will win the tournament? I mean, it's going to depend on the wind, but I mean, it's got to be in the 40 range. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess. Between 30 and 40, maybe better. The course, thank you, Ron. I'll tell you, the course we're playing tomorrow, Infinite, unless there's heavy winds, you got to score double digits out there. It is the easiest of the 3 courses. Riley, what's up, my friend Riley, my longtime friend. Love you, dude. God, man, I miss you. I can't wait to see you someday. Riley's a friend I grew up way back in the 80s. He's been playing forever also. He's one of the OGs. Can't wait to see how much I donate to worthy causes. Hopefully it's going to be a lot. We'll see how I cash at the tournaments. I'll have some good weekends, some bad ones. Competition's deep. One nice thing is that I was invited to play the world's largest skins match at Eagles Crossing. It's what's been announced. It's going to be getting much bigger. There's some details that haven't been announced yet, and it's going to be insane. And I was invited to be one of the 4 players at the world's largest disc golf skins match, which I was totally flattered by. And I told them that all my money is going to go to a charity in Missouri called Hope for Autism. So if I can win 10 skins and pull down 20 or 30 grand and send that to Hope for Autism would be epic. Thank you very much, Jens. We were just talking about, I did a freestyle video, Jens. I don't know if you saw that. with Danny O'Neill and Riley O'Neill. And we were talking a lot about you. Jens Velasquez, for those of you who don't know, Jens and Erwin Velasquez would be, I think, widely considered like, well, it's hard to say who's like the best, like, you know, because eras change. But if there's a Mount Rushmore of Frisbee freestyle, you start with the Velasquez brothers. They were the most epic, prolific team in the 70s and during the heyday of the overall era, when freestyle was at its biggest, when they were competing in the Rose Bowl in front of 50,000 people. The Velasquez brothers were number one. I'm sorry to call you out, Jens, but yeah, that's they were the pioneers. People like, I'll embarrass you a little bit more, Jens. You have to understand all like everything we do today in disc sports. There were people that needed to invent those things that we did, and Jens was one of those people that you point to and go, like, in the world of freestyle, the freestyle community does a move, and they're like, they can tell you that Jens is the one that first invented that move. So I won't embarrass you no more, but thanks, Jens, for jumping in. Well, I'm just being honest. I'm not being kind. I'm just telling the truth, Jens. You know it's true. You're just probably humble. But yeah, so it's going to be, I'm going to get on a lead card. Yes, I'm going to get on a lead card. I'm going to win a tournament this year. I wouldn't be out here if I didn't have every intention of winning. You know, I'm realistic about my chances of the entire season and where I'm going to sit at the end of the season. If I wind up in the top 50, I'm not going to be ashamed of a top 50 season at 52 years old. But a top 50 player can win on a given weekend. And that's what the goal is. Every single time I go out, my goal is going to be to win. And in fact, I'll be repeating some things I said on the last on Instagram about an hour ago. But on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, if you're not out here to win, then you're stealing the spot from somebody that wants to win. And I would never, ever come out here just to participate in the Pro Tour one last time. How nostalgic would that be? Or how fun would that be? That would be taking the spot from a player that's out here to win a tournament event. I don't care if they're 950 rated. If they're out to win, they deserve the spot over any player out here that is here to participate. So I'm here to win, everyone. Whether I do or not, I'll let you know in November. But this is my goal. I do want to win Worlds. That's the number one goal, win Worlds. Does that mindset change if you're out of the running after a couple rounds? Well, I mean, you can get realistic. Yeah, I mean, come on. Like I'm not going to come back from 12 strokes down with 2 rounds to go against those players. I mean, I'll have to get hot and stay hot if I want to be competitive. So, yeah, at some point, you know, you can be realistic. And at that point, since every single tournament, all the money I win is going to go to a local autism organization, you know, if I'm out of contention, then I certainly want to make sure I score well enough to make some money for the organization I'm playing for. So, of course. Am I sponsored by Dynamic? Yes, Dynamic is one of the disc companies that's sponsoring me, along with Castoplast and Gateway and a bunch of other companies. Birdie Discs has a disc coming out, a special blend of plastic on their new Marvel, just being made in my signature mold. It's my sorry, it's not my signature mold. It's their disc, the Marvel, but it's my tour series discs. Brad Schick, high winds expected all week. I don't think so. I think the winds are going to calm down out here. I think that the bad winds were yesterday and the day before. I'll be out there today, but I think it's actually going to be more realistic. Why do I always donate to autism organizations? Because they need the money more than I do. It's something that I enjoy doing. I like doing things for the special needs community. I wasn't able to do my throwing, my Blue Power disc golf classes because of COVID, and I wanted to do something for the community. So I came up with the idea, well, what if I just donate all my money that I win to local autism organizations? I mean, my seminars are doing great. I mean, I charge pretty good money for teaching disc golf, and I'm not struggling. I'm financially solvent, the right word. I do fine. And so I don't need the money. And I thought, what a great thing that I could do for purely selfish reasons, because it makes me feel good to do it. And When I go out and play for an organization, it just gives me that feeling that lets me put my head down on the pillow at night and like myself. So selfish reasons, but I think the end result's good for other people as well. Let's see. Do I think I'll do better at open and wooded courses? I'll do better on wooded courses, on hard wooded courses, just because I still throw pretty far, but I don't throw as far as Eagle and Girthy. When you take away that, then an entire skill set that I am lacking in is off the table, and it just levels the playing field. Now, I do believe that I don't believe that the long open courses are unfair. You know, the fact that Eagle has an advantage over me on a 12,000 foot course is not the course's fault. It is my fault for not throwing as far as Eagle. The fact that he has a skill set that's better than mine and is rewarded for it on those courses, totally cool with. He should be rewarded for throwing far on long courses, just like every part of your game. If you're good at it, you should be rewarded at some point. So I'm a huge fan of the long courses. The fact that I can't compete on them as well, that's sports, right? If I wanted to compete on them, throw farther. Could Climo compete today on the courses? It would depend on the courses. You know, so one of the things about Ken that people have to understand is that Ken developed his game for the courses he was playing on. So would Ken have been a power player in today's game? I don't know. I do know that back then there was no reason to be a power player. Those weren't the courses we were playing, so he certainly didn't develop a game for that. He developed the game for the courses we were playing, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. Ken would be a top player against any player playing today on the courses that we played back in the 90s, because that's what his game was developed for sure. Now, competing in today's game with the skill set of the 90s, I think even if you ask Ken, I think, hey, Ken, how would you fare on a 12,000 foot course against players that outthrow you by that much distance? I think he would say it was an uphill battle. But again, we don't have a parallel universe where Ken learned on a 10,000 foot course, and we didn't get to see what Ken could do if that's the game he developed. So I'm dodging the question a little bit, but the answer is yes. On the courses that Ken developed his game for, he would be a top player in the world, of course. Why is Josh Basinger my favorite AM ever? Because he does video editing for me at half the price as everyone else. How about that? Because he's one of my best friends in the sport, who I love dearly. And we will be continuing our favorite hole series this year. By the way, if anybody needs video editing work, Josh Basinger Disc Golf, he's fantastic. So go look him up. What do I think about wacky discs like the Stego, Turbo Power, the Groove? They're fantastic. The Tilt, they're fantastic. If a disc does something that no other disc does, there's going to be shots where that's the best disc for that shot. The more unusual the flight of the disc is, the fewer the holes that it fits for. For example, I will be throwing a Baobab this year. We haven't announced it yet because I'm announcing one disc every 3 weeks, and it's going to come later in the season. But the Baobab from AGL Discs is like a Stego, and I love that disc. There are shots that disc is epically good for. So I love it. Because my girlfriend played disc golf. She has never played a hole of disc golf before. I don't think she's ever thrown a putt, but she's my caddy, and we practice together. We practice when we're in the desert, putting back and forth from 30 feet before I had a basket I was traveling with. And she does video editing and does a lot of my social media and is a huge part of the Scott Stokely business. So she is a participant in the big picture. Disc golfing is only part of the business, right? Building a brand and everything else counts. Do I want to see companies like Nike get into disc golf? Yeah, of course. I mean, so disc golf's no longer a niche sport. Hate to say it, not hate to say it, I love to say it. You know, when you're talking about the money on the pro tour, when that's your only metric to gauge disc golf, you're really selling the sport short. In terms of participation, there's more disc golfers out there if there's not more than ball golfers, it's about to be, because of how fast and how rapidly disc golf is growing. There's different types of sports, right? There's sports that are spectator sports. I mean, a sport like football and baseball. I mean, sure, you can play it, but really, what those professional sports are, they're spectator sports. You watch them on television, you watch them at the stadium. That's really what they're geared towards, beyond when you're a kid. There's other sports that are participation sports, and those are the sports that you go out and play. You might watch it on TV, you might go to events. There's a pro tour, but the biggest part of the sport is participation. And every indication right now, and all you got to do is have a third grade understanding of mathematics to look at the charts. Disc golf is going to be the largest participation sport in the US very soon here, as far as the amount of people that enjoy this activity as part of their life. It might be a while before we pass soccer and cricket on a global level, but I don't see why we can't pass them as well someday. I don't see why this won't be the biggest sport in the world. And if there's a pro tour, if there's more prize money in a sport, because it's a participation sport, because more people want to watch it on television or pay $100 to go watch it at a stadium, those sports are probably going to have more money. But that doesn't mean they're better sports. They're different sports. Sorry, that was a little bit on my soapbox there, but disc golf is already one of the biggest participation sports in the country. 12 million players in the US, I think. Oh yeah, disc golf is, I mean, it's a slam dunk in the Olympics. It's just a matter, I think there's a lot of politics involved in the Olympics. I mean, of course, based on the number of people who play it, it's obvious we should have been in already. So we will be. What the hell are those funny things on my nose? Oh, this thing right here? Okay, watch this. Ready? I take them off, and why is everybody typing blurry words at me? I don't understand. Like the last message says blah 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 blah. Oh no, it says if I had to choose one touring pro to be on a doubles team with me, who would it be? Paul. I mean, if I'm playing for money, Paul. I mean, of course, Ricky and Eagle and Calvin are pretty darn right up there, obviously. But how would you pick anyone but Paul? Oh my God, put them back on. Okay. Kent Stokely versus Super Stokely. Americans dominate sports in the Olympics. Let's see, what course I think will be the biggest challenge? Best of luck. The biggest challenge, I'm thinking Portland, just because of the distance. But I have every intention of winning that one too, like every other tournament. Let's see. It is so weird to see you as an older man, Ron. I love you, Ron. I know we knew each other back in 1991. And yeah, it's this aging thing is for the birds. Youth is wasted on the young. What's in the front of my hat? It's Birdie Disc Golf. Birdie Disc Golf just came out with a disc called the Marvel, and the Marvel is absolutely a fantastic putt and approach disc. And there's going to be a Tour Series Marvel coming out in just a couple weeks in a special blend of plastic that you can only get on the Scott Stokely Tour Series Marvel. Favorite, but when you put it on, it's like it blocks the light, and then there's a big old shadow. All right, so favorite course. I have two of them, and then one that's going to be Caliber. Well, first off, my favorite course. I sometimes I'll leave this out for no reason. It's Oak Grove Park, the world's first frisbee golf course. It's where I started. I've got Oak Grove Disc Golf Course tattooed on me. That is our Sistine Chapel. That is our Taj Mahal. That is our Eiffel Tower. I mean, Oak Grove Park is our St. Andrews, right? But as far as actual courses to play, Caliber in North Idaho is absolutely insanely. Don. That's insanely amazing private course. Maple Hill was probably the best quality course as far as the variety of shots and just the variety, the amount of different throws he needed out there. But I think that Eagles Crossing is probably going to be my favorite, because why wouldn't it be? It looks like it's I mean, Dave McCormick is one of the several best course designers in the entire world. It's on an impeccable piece of land. And Philip Samuels has put about $1.5 million into the golf course. And I've watched it on video. So I think that's probably going to wind up being the best course in the world. I'll have to see it. What rest am I in the bag for 2022? No, I got another in the bag coming out in a couple days. I am not doing an in the bag for my entire bag of discs. I'm doing an in the bag for every single disc where I'm addressing every type of throw I need. And here's the disc I've chosen for that throw. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to be doing a video in the bag about the harp in a couple days because the harp is my my overstable mid-range disc, but it's going to get its own video. My biggest rival this year is the field, you know, because I'm not playing against a person, you know, I'm playing against every single person that's out there who wants to win that tournament, just like I do. And so everybody, and I want to play the best in the world. That's why I'm here. So, you know, when I look at the Pauls and the Rickies and the Eagles and the Calvins and I mean, they'll go down 50 people and they're 1030 rated. It's ridiculous. They're all my biggest rivals. My music, that's easy. Rainbow Connection, Kermit the Frog. That's the song that'll be playing at the Dynamic Discs Open when I tee off. It's the most beautiful, perfect song ever written. And that's not a joke. It's my favorite song. Who's on my card tomorrow? Nico LaCastro. Nico's such a good guy. I can't wait to get to shoot with Nico and James Proctor and a 990 player who I can't remember their name, but there's two of us 990s and a couple 1030s. Don, I loved playing with you out in Michigan, and you did. Don Smith did something it's something that was very rare because he's not rare to beat me. I mean, I've lost 2/3 of the tournaments in my life, right? But what he did that was so rare was that I think he started off the final round like 1 or 2 ahead of me, didn't miss a putt for like 12 holes. And next thing you know, I think he had like a 5 or 6 stroke lead with like 6 holes to go. And then I got hot and I started birding, and I was birding some long holes, doing a couple long putts, and I chopped away, and I stepped up with I got to within 1 stroke with 2 holes to go. And 95% of players in that position that Don was in, they fold because they had a 6-stroke lead with like 7 holes to go or something like that. And they got the tournament in the bag. And next thing you know, they're like, wait, what just happened here? 20 minutes ago, I had this one. Now I got a 1-stroke lead with a par 4 with OB lining both sides of the fairway. I thought I had Don at that point because that's when players choke. Don didn't choke. Don threw a 350-foot sidearm approach shot over OB the entire time, about 4 feet from the basket, to effectively win the tournament on hole 17, and blown away by the mental game that Don showed. I can't wait to play again. I really want to beat you next time because I want to beat everybody. But I was super impressed on not just that you won. I mean, people win, but how you won, the composure you kept was super pro level. Luke Jones would love that. Huge fan. Stoked to see you kick ass. Hey, would love this. Let's see. David, try not to give lessons to your card while playing. Oh my God, I'm just going to be look at jacked and tan. I've been out in the desert and I've been working out a lot. Oh my God. Like I did my last pre-tournament workout 2 days ago at Planet Fitness. Do I have any secret talents? Asterisk dot / question mark asterisk winky face. Are you throwing just Castoplast? No, I will be throwing all sorts of different brands. The ones that I've announced so far are Dynamic Castoplast, Gateway, and Marvel, Birdie, the Birdie Marvel. So, did I be the next weekend in Michigan? Well, cool. Yay. I'm happy about that. Seriously though, man, that shot you threw on hole 17, I'll never forget it because I was positive that you were done at that point, and you weren't. Up here, you kept it, and that's why you won. Let's see. This one to swing and say thank you. Light bulb comes on with the tips, helps you so much. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm really proud of how I teach. Um, the funny thing is that every single pro disc golfer out there, like we agreed 98% on what a correct throw looks like. I mean, there's a right and a wrong way to throw. Maybe a couple details we disagree on, but for the most part, no, there's a right way to throw a disc. What I've developed, what I call it the Stokely disc golf method for branding purposes. It's not an ego thing. I cringe when I talk about myself in the third person, but for branding for my business, it's the Stokely disc golf method. Isn't a different way of throwing golf discs. We all agree on how to throw. The method that I teach is the method to get there. You do certain things and you focus on a certain number of very specific things, a very specific way. And when you do those things, all the other little details automatically fall into place. This is why my teaching method works better than anyone in the world, in my opinion, because I spent decades trying to figure out how to get players to throw correctly. We all agree how to throw correctly, but how to get someone to do it that was decades in the works. So I appreciate that you appreciate that because I'm really proud of it. Yes, I completed the hole in the desert. The video I think is going to go up today or tomorrow or the next day. Actually, my girlfriend is editing it over across the room as we speak. I played a 55,000 foot hole across Death Valley because why wouldn't you? Yeah, I love you, Riley. We will see you. We'll see you again, my friend. Thank you for stopping in and saying hi. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you again. The biggest difference between tour players and when I stopped playing, number one, they all have sidearms. Number two, they all throw far. That's probably when I say the biggest things, I mean, that's like most of the game. Players could putt back in the old days, for sure. They were great putters. The finesse games, I honestly, the players today, there's no question, are at a higher level as a group than the players of the 90s. I mean, duh, like, are better now. But I do believe my observations are the top players in the 90s at shaping shots in the woods and doing that type of finesse golf. They were better then than they are today because that isn't the golf you're playing today. And even though the shots in the woods, you have discs that you can just power through shots where you were trying to throw a beat up understable disc with hyzer and making an S turn on a 230 foot hole. That is a skill set that had to be developed to compete in the 80s and 90s that you don't really need today. So the players are better today, but the skill sets specific to the game back then were different. Recently found my podcast to continue. Okay, so they are going to continue, but I'm no longer calling them podcasts. I will be at OTB. I'm not calling them podcasts because there's such a saturation of podcasts that the minute you call something a podcast, it actually, for me, I was getting less views. Where instead of it being a podcast, if I just say, hey, I'm chatting with old school pro Mike Randolph, I get way more views on that than having Mike Randolph on my call it a podcast. So yes, I'm doing podcasts, but I've stopped calling it that. How do I feel about the course and the conditions? Any take your par and move on holes, or is it 100% attack mode? There's one hole on Infinite that it's 538 feet, and the last 75 feet is over out of bounds. I am not throwing that one. I'm not trying to get to it. It's a par 3. I'll be taking a par on that one. That's the only one. Everything else is attacked. I'm not going to be playing conservative early in tournaments. My camera's frozen. Let's see. Let me see. Did the camera freeze? Let me give it a second. Because now the text is also frozen as well. Okay, I can't see the comments. I'm going to keep talking as if it's still posting. Strange Awakening says, so I forget where the question was because I thought we were. How much advantage disc from 2022 in New Zealand? Well, it's not an advantage that the discs fly farther because everyone gets to throw them. It would be a hell of an advantage if I was the only one allowed to throw double-digit speed discs. That'd be fantastic. No, just a little bit laggy. Okay, that's fine. My strengths and weaknesses of the game compared to the competition. honestly, like, and at the end of the season, you'll see this when the numbers come out. I will not be at the top of the putting stats, and it's not because I'm not confident in myself or that I don't believe in myself. I'm just being honest. I mean, the best putters are putting at a different level than me. My goal, because there's so many parts of the game, there's sidearm, backhands, approaches, power, putting, wind, strategy, woods, open, hyzers, anhyzers, utility shots, right? There's so many different components to the game. And my goal is, I feel like putting might be the weakest part of my game. So my goal is to be an average tour putter. If the worst part of my game is middle of the pack, and then there's other parts, I throw farther than average. I'm pretty darn good in the woods. I can hang in the wind. I'll still put my sidearm up against anyone in the world today. So if I can do that, if the weakest part of my game is middle of the pack, I'm going to be real successful. If my putting is at the bottom of the pack, you can't be successful if you can't make putts. So I need to be at least an average putter. So we'll say, hey, what's up, Scott Zimmerman? For those of you who don't know, I'm going to embarrass Scott. Back before you specialized in sports, you played Frisbee. That was it. You played all the different events. In fact, you had to compete in all the events in order to compete at tournaments, because there were very few individual tournaments. Scott Zimmerman is the greatest Frisbee player to ever play the game. In fact, it's one of those areas that's debated by zero people. No one argues where Scott's place is as the greatest Frisbee player of all time. And he's also out there doing clinics and seminars. He's also a hell of a golfer. He throws very far. Please, if you see Scott Zimmerman and Dave Felberg, I believe he's still working with, go ahead and check out his seminars and his classes. He's a hell of a teacher, hell of a nice guy. He knows how to make a disc do the things he wanted to do. So I hope I didn't embarrass you, Scott, but I was happy to see you jump in here. Love the battle I had with Ron Converse. Yes, of course. That was great. I loved playing with Ron. One of the funny things was, we were raising money for charity, right? And so we were having a challenge match, and to get interest in the match, we decided to come after each other in social media. And the funniest thing is, I am an old school pro wrestling guy, not the new WWE, but like old stuff, indie pro wrestling, Southern pro wrestling. Like, I like the old school stuff. And so you need a good guy and a bad guy to get interest on your match. That brings more interest. More interest means more money raised for charity. So Ron and I agreed to go after each other in social media, kind of like we were bitter rivals, like we didn't like each other. And I basically said, look, you need a good guy and a bad guy, Ron. I'm going to be the bad guy. You be the good guy. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, this is fun for me. So I'm out there. I was making videos where I was attacking Ron. I was attacking the state of Oklahoma, the state of Kansas. I was attacking all the disc golfers in the state, hopefully making people mad enough at me that they would bet money on Ron, which is how you would ultimately we raise the money for the charity. But the funny part is, one of the funnest parts for me is there's an old school wrestling thing called kayfabe, which means you stay in character when you're not in the ring. They don't do this nowadays, but in the old days, when a bad guy wrestler wouldn't sign an autograph at a bar. Like, he was a bad guy. He had to stay in character the whole time. So people are messaging me on Facebook. They're like, do you really not like Ron Converse? And I'm writing him back, no, I can't stand that guy. I hate that guy. Oh, God, Ron's the worst. And of course I love Ron. Like, nobody doesn't like Ron. He's such a good guy. But it was really fun to play the bad guy wrestler for a week. So anyways, sorry, long story about wrestling on a disc golf live stream, but I had a lot of fun. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, yeah, these guys were the best. No, I am not in the Hall of Fame. I'm still an active player. I'm expecting to be in soon. I can't wait. It'll be the greatest honor of my career when I get in. I certainly want to be, and I mean, there's a place being held for me. I know I'm going to be in, But right now I'm out on the pro tour. So if they're not putting me in, although I think it would be pretty neat to go in this year because of all the press of me being on tour, it would really, boy, it'd be something special if it happened this year. But I'm not worried about when. My prank on Germ, exactly. The peanut butter falcon. No, how about not the peanut butter falcon? How about the Falcor? The Prodigy, well, Prodigy's making it for Kale LaVisca. The Falcor, if y'all haven't thrown the Falcor, it's so good. I started throwing it a couple days ago, and it's already in my bag. It's a high-speed disc. It's really fast. It flies really far. It's stable. Real nice disc. My prank on Germ. I love Jeremy Colling's one of my favorites. I love Jeremy. He's got such a good sense of humor. And we have had our share of prank wars, and they've all turned out really well. Everything in good fun, but we've put the time in. Any 50 plus golfers on tour this year. On the DGP tour, there's one. I don't know how many 40 players there are in the 40s. I'm not even close in age to the second oldest player that's on the DGPT this year. I'm looking forward to playing with the most. You heard Pro Sam reaching for straws, trying to stay relevant. What professional athlete whose entire business is built around their brand isn't trying to stay relevant? That's a compliment. Of course I'm trying to stay relevant. This is my business. Duh. And and honestly, like, I've been getting nothing but positives from all the pros out there. So, it's sports. I mean, everybody's going to have an opinion. I welcome everybody's opinion. Reaching for straws, I don't know. Maybe I'll make a hot stamp where I'm actually like literally reaching for straws. It wouldn't be that far off. Yeah. So yeah, Kale's the best, right? Let's see. All the Minnesota people are rooting for me. Let's see. What are the pros I'm looking forward? The pros I'm most looking forward to playing with is all of them. And that's kind of like a dodging the question answer, maybe, but it's actually true. I want to get a chance to play with all these players. So here's the thing. I'm a competitor, but I'm also a fan. And there's two different modes to be in. From the moment I tee off tomorrow until I throw my last putt in on Sunday, I'm not a fan of anyone. I'm out there to win. This is the competition. I'm here to compete. But the moment I throw that final putt in, instantly, I'm a fan of every single person. I'm going to run off to the lead card. I'm going to watch the lead card play. Assuming I'm not on it, right? I'm going to go watch and by the way, men and women, I'm going to be watching both, and I'm going to be fans of all of them. I'm going to be fans all week, and I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to enjoy practice rounds, and I'm going to be excited. I'm a fan of all the kids on tour. There's not one of them I don't like. I like all of them. And then when it's time to tee off in Waco, not a fan anymore. Now, I do think that this is important because it's a mindset you have to compete. Over the years, I can't tell you how many players I've shot with, like, the first round of a tournament, who right before we tee off the first round, they're asking for my autograph. And the minute they do that, I'm flattered by it. Of course, I'm always flattered when I do that. But I'm thinking in my head, why are you doing this? Like, you literally just lost to me. Like, you aren't my fan when we're competing. Don't do that. After the round. And so it's a matter of shifting gears. But I want to play with everybody. I love these kids. How many aces do I think I'm gonna have for 2022? Probably one. I never get aces. I mean, I don't throw a lot of stall shots. I don't throw a lot of Anheisers. I throw a lot of Heisers, which means I'm throwing my shots to land 30, 40, 50 feet short of the basket. If I get an ace, it means that instead of landing 30 feet short of the basket, my shot was going to land 15 feet long, which means I missed my shot by 45 feet. Most aces are going to be on 300-something foot shots, and I don't plan on missing many 300-foot shots by 45 feet. So I don't get a lot of aces. Antarctica is not in my schedule, but I have every intention of going to Antarctica before I die. It's on my bucket list. Although I'm terrified of the plane ride. I heard it's like you're skirting death the whole way in. But I still want to go. My bag has changed since the end of the bag video, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to be announcing every single disc that's coming out as I go. Ron Jones, try what? I must have missed something. If I finish top 10, do I give it another tear? So as of right now, my plan is to do the 2022 season. And if everything works out and the world doesn't keep like turning upside down, my plan is to play the Euro Tour in 2023. And then in 2024, I just want to travel the world and I want to play disc golf at all those places that aren't the US, Canada, Japan, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. Estonia now is clearly on the map. I don't want to do that. I want to go play courses in Ethiopia and the Republic of Chad and French Guyana and Colombia. So my goal in 3 years, and then by then I'll be 55. So coming back at that point, probably out of the question. So I believe this is my year. I hear Canada's going to invade the U.S. Funny thing about that, I just watched South Park the musical, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, 2 days ago. I'm kind of afraid. Greetings back from Norway. I'll be in Norway next year. All right. So if anybody has any other questions, how did I practice rounds going to Vegas? Yeah, I feel great. It's a double-edged sword feeling good. I have no injuries. I feel so good. I've trained. Everything's perfect. It's a double-edged sword because I'm in such a good position to play well, but I also have zero excuses if I don't. If I just had one nagging shoulder injury that I could blame if I don't score well, and I don't have that. So if I don't score well, it just meant that I wasn't good enough that day, and I got nothing else to offer. So I'm excited that I feel well. By the way, I'm joking. I don't like making excuses, but no, everything feels perfect. I can't believe I got to shoot practice rounds, couple rounds with Brody. I got to shoot with Calvin. Got to shoot, obviously some other players. It's been Luke Sampson. God, that guy's so good. Luke's going to have a breakout year. So everything's going great. How's my wind putting been? My wind putting is not good, but no one else's is either. I'll tell you the trick to putting in the wind. It's called laying it up. I'm not going to be silly in the wind. Who do I think? If anyone in the sport were to do a big stage, long form interview podcast to represent disc golf, who do you think the person would be? Me, maybe. I don't know. I love it. Nate Sexton. Nate Sexton is really high on the list. That guy's super sharp. I'll go in and just toss Nate in there. Nate's been around a long time, and he's just such a good guy. Climo thoughts. Yeah, Climo's certainly the best of my generation, and that's not news to anyone. It wasn't even close. One of the things people would talk about how our rivalry, Ken and I, bullshit. Ken didn't have a rival. He didn't have a rival for many years. It's kind of like saying, who is Michael Jordan's biggest rival? Well, and you talk about, oh God, I'm just trying to blank. But the Charles Barkleys and Karl Malones, and who is his biggest rival? Well, at his best, were they rivals? He won every year. So was it really a rivalry? It's hard to say. So yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult to play against the best at that time. Thomas Berval, my back has never been better, ever. It's so good. It hurts a little bit because I'm 52 years old, but not in an injury sense. It feels really good. Preston, do I get nervous for big tournaments? I haven't been nervous in decades, but I'm feeling butterflies right now. And it's the first time in many, many, many years that I've really felt nervous. But we're gonna see. I'll keep everyone updated on it. But right now I'm doing fine. I think it's a realistic amount of nerves. The Las Vegas courses, yeah, they're good. They're good. They're fair. I'm not the biggest fan of the ball golf courses just because I like more obstacles. I like woods. I like trees as far as what I personally enjoy the most. But these types of courses are part of the game, and they belong as part of the game because they're clearly part of the game. So as far as a ball golf course, I think they did a fantastic job. The OBs are fair. The holes, the distances are fair. Like everything about it is fair. There's no luck. For at least as little as there can be in disc golf on a course. So I think they did it fantastic. The courses are in beautiful shape. So I don't, not a bad word to say. I think they did a real nice job. Adventurous lines this year, yeah, probably not. That's I don't throw far enough to take the crazy lines too often anymore. The only time I'll probably do that is I will throw some sidearm anhizers when other players might throw backhand hyzers if the woods are thick enough, just because my backhand hyzer is not as accurate as my sidearm anhyzer. And even though I know it's a backhand shot, I might be throwing the quote wrong throw just because of my skill set. That's the only time. Of course I know Phil Arthur. Yeah, I've known Phil forever. He's a great guy. He's doing really good things too with disc molding and disc manufacturing. What's up, Chris? Oh man, Tour de Earth. Mackinac Park promoters doubles event in Peru, Indiana. I still think about your shot on hole 18. I love it. Yeah, Tour de Earth, 1996, maybe. Let's see. What was the most challenging thing for me? I'll be honest, Matt. I like the whole thing was like a challenge, but there was no one individual area that like I ran into a problem with. It's been a bit surreal how well everything's gone. My training's gone, my diet, my working out, my putting, my throwing, my branding, my tutorial videos, my seminars. I mean, everything's just kind of worked out. It's one of those things where, like, I can't pinpoint something that's gone wrong. It's I'm mind blown by that. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's luck of the draw, I think, because injuries can happen to anybody, and any business arrangement I have could have fallen apart for any number of reasons that were no one's fault. But everything's come together. So I haven't really had any challenges. What I have had is just, I've been working really hard. I've estimated that if you don't count the time on the course throwing and putting, I spend about 50 hours a week off the course, building my brand, building my business, putting out content, doing promotion in social media, working on business arrangements, writing articles. I mean, so it's all hard. I'm working my butt off, but it's gone smooth. Of course, I'm going to have fun. It's going to be the best time ever. By the way, I apologize if I'm skipping because I can't get to every single question that comes through, and once I start talking, I kind of blank everything out and don't even see the next comments to come through. But yeah, I'm excited for the season. I thought that I should probably do something like this at the end of every tournament. You guys think that would be something cool to give a recap of the tournament? Not just me, but also of the tournament itself, the course, the top players that are winning the tournament. So I'll be watching them. If you guys think it's a good idea, I mean, I definitely want to go do that. The craziest place I ever played disc golf before, counting the 55,000 hole in the desert. Well, that's probably just about the craziest place. I just finished a 55,000 foot hole, about a 10.5 mile hole across Death Valley 2 weeks ago, because why not? And I also did a 52,000 foot hole down a beach on January 1st. That video is already up on my YouTube channel. The Death Valley hole is going to be going up, and but I will be doing more of those. Like, actually, that's something that I've discovered that I really like. So I won't be doing that during the tour, but I was thinking about as I'm traveling, especially around Europe or around the world, like finding places to make interesting golf holes, especially ones that are hard. And by hard, I mean, par 200 or par 300. Those types of holes I'm really actually intrigued about doing more of, just because like I've been doing this my whole life, and anything different and anything new is exciting for me. My biggest sponsor this year, there are a ton of them, I mean, Castoplast and Gateway and Dynamic and Birdie Discs I've announced. A bunch of other manufacturers are coming out. Honestly, a big sponsor is going to be me, because the Stokely brand that I'm trying to build as my business is also going to be releasing golf carts, golf bags, shirts, hats, towels. I have barbecue sauce coming out in a couple weeks. So a lot of the biggest sponsor is going to be this business that I'm creating around what I'm doing, that, it's not technically a sponsor, but it kind of is. For tax reasons, it is. It's definitely like I'm being sponsored by a corporation called Stokely. Why did the bird go over the radio? Honestly, okay, wait, hold on, Kagan. A little tough 10-mile hole through the mountains. Challenge accepted. I'll do a 10-mile hole through the mountains when I get to New Zealand. I like things that are hard. So one of the things, Kagan, that I like to do is I like to put challenges in front of myself. This is something really important to me, that I put obstacles in my way that I can then overcome. I like to create these challenges. And the reason it's important to me is because I always want to know what I'm capable of. And especially as I get older, I want to know what I'm still capable of doing. If you only do things that you know you're going to succeed at, you have no idea what you're capable of. Because if you succeed at those things that you knew you were going to, maybe you could have done more. How do you know? If you put obstacles in front of yourself and create challenges for yourself that you might fail at, and then you fail at some of them, that's the only way you can see where your line is, right? If you make it to here while going for this, you didn't fail. Well, technically you failed. You didn't make it to here. You got to here, but now you know that this is what you're capable of. And there's something exciting about knowing where your limits are. So okay, 10.5-mile hole through the mountain. Perfect. That sounds really hard. I'm not sure I can do that. Let's try. And if I can't, and I make it 6.5 miles, well, then I know that I'm capable of playing a 6.5-mile hole in the mountain. And on the flip side, if I do succeed, it's incredibly rewarding to succeed at things where you didn't know if you were going to. I think that's a super important thing. For me, it keeps me alive, and honestly, the Pro Tour is even a large scale example of this. Like, I'm trying to tell this story about coming back on tour and training and getting in shape and revisiting One Last Shot at Glory. I have no idea how this story is going to go. But because I'm part of the story, I will learn what I'm capable of. Like, I don't have to guess where I fit in the world at the highest level of disc golf. I'll have numbers. I will be able to look at a list. I'll see my name and I'll know that's my line. But I have to do that to do that. And along that journey is going to be a lot of failures, but keeps me alive. Sorry, that was so preachy. I did not mean for that to come across like in that way, but it's real important. What's the news about the video game I'm a part of? May or June. It's in the works. It's in development. It's happening. There is a Scott Stokely video game for the phone that's going to be coming out this season. And that's all I can tell. All right. So guess what? Chat went quiet because we were listening. Wise words. Of course, we'll play the toboggan course. I'll be at the Great Lakes Open. All right, so I got to head out because I'm going out to the course to shoot a practice round, my final practice round before the tournament, and it's time to get out there. But I want to check in with everybody. I say this, like, people say it all the time. They're like, I love you guys, and I don't know if I don't know if everybody means it or if they just use those words. I truly mean it. Like, I consider my Frisbee family to be my family, and I love all of you because you're all part of this family. Even those of you I might not like, I still love, because you're part of this thing that is the most important thing in my life. And so I love you guys. I can't wait to bring you along with me, and I hope everybody enjoys getting to go on tour with me, because I certainly am. All right, thanks everyone.